Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Bro, if your movie in 2023 has songs like Turn Down for What on it and gets actors like Chris Evans to rap to the point where you want to clean earwax from your ear with a drill, then your movie deserves to flop harder than a fish out of water. So much potential was wasted on a film, and I'm convinced it was written by Hades. But if you don't know, Pain Hustlers is a movie on Netflix directed by David Yates and follows a single mother played by Emily Blunt who lost her job and is trying to take care of her daughter. But when she was offered a 100K salary job by this bonehead Pete Brenner played by Chris Evans to work for a pharmaceutical company, she hops on the opportunity but realizes that the wonder drug that they are selling that's supposed to fight cancer actually just kills people. Now, this movie is based on a true story where a drug company disguised themselves as someone who is selling some wishy-washy elixir that is supposed to fight off the effects of cancer. But what the drug company did was pay doctors to prescribe this to patients. But as time went on, the drug killed all the patients it was prescribed to because the thing that they were prescribing was fentanyl. And that whole story on the surface sounds super interesting, and if I were a producer, I would greenlight that film, slap that back, and tell them to start making some cinema. But the execution of this film was so poor and derivative and sloppy that it borderline made the film unwatchable and will 100% be forgotten within a week. And part of me feels the reason why that's the case is because this film is also just an entire Wolf of Wall Street knockoff. Like everything from the tone to the voiceovers to even the shouting in front of a huge group of people, this movie's armpits reek of it trying to be Wolf of Wall Street. But the reason why Wall Street was so good despite it being so long is because it kept me entertained and Pain Hustlers didn't. And this is another issue I have with the film, and that's that this film was an absolute slogfest. Seeing an old lady get slapped would be more entertaining than this. None of the jokes landed, the dialogue was super wallpaper and too complex, the setting was bland, and the performances really couldn't do much to salvage this plate of soggy french fries. And speaking of the performances, for the most part, they were good and they were probably the best part of the film, but not by a lot. For example, Emily Blunt, I thought she was great in the film and she hits the bowl in the sack every time she's in a scene and is the actor who carries the movie basically. But my big issue is with Chris Evans because in the movie, this lollipop is bouncing around accents more than Drake bouncing around music styles because at one point he talks like a normal American, then switches to what I think is a Boston or New York accent, but the thing is that he can't pull that accent off and it sounds like he's trying way too hard. And on top of that, watching Chris Evans act over the top for some reason makes me want to roll my eyes behind my head. But look, don't get me wrong, Chris Evans can act. He's great in Knives Out, he's great in Captain America, he's great in Defending Jacob, but the moment you give him a character that is a little bit more colorful and has the maturity of a Teletubby, you begin to lose me. And a prime example where his performance seemed goofy where he got a bubbly role is with Ghosted because he just doesn't seem to do it right. It's good that he's trying different things and stepping outside of his Captain America persona, but look, if you can't do something, don't do it. And overdramatic is not something, in my opinion, Chris Evans can do. Another thing I want to say is that the editing in this film is super weird and wonky. Like, it genuinely looks like some scenes in this movie were just stock videos. Like, there was this one random clip where a fruit was getting scooped, and another one where we saw that looked like a biology crash course. There are also other moments in the film where the frame just freezes, and it serves no dramatic or comedic effect. It just happens randomly, and it makes it seem like this movie was born, and then suddenly it broke its leg. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. Skip this movie. Trust me, don't waste your time on a 2-hour snail race of a picture that made me consider eating paper just to feel something. And pray to God as well that Chris Evans gets a new agent because he needs it. So yeah, 1 star.